I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Hanamonogatari. We finished the second season of Monogatari, and this is what is next. Hanamonogatari. My mind instantly goes to like Hanekawa, but that's a different Hanamonogatari. Do you have any guesses?
So this is actually, it might come as a surprise, but this is the first time I'm hearing what we are about to watch in terms of like what the title of this is.
I have the watch order.
He has the watch order. I sit here and look pretty. That is my job here. And this is the first time that I'm hearing this. But obviously the Fire Sisters, the all-knowing Fire Sisters that I trust with my whole heart, told me to look forward to Kanbaru content next. And that is what I am expecting. Not only because the Fire Sisters are beautiful and smart and all-knowing, as I've already said.
And systems.
And the fire systems, yes, they are also systems that work perfectly. Monogatari second season gave us really lovely, amazing, deep looks into so many, if not all of our characters that we've explored through this series, other than Kanbaru, that I expect that same love and attention toward Kanbaru. So that is what I'm expecting here in Hanamonogatari.
I think that is a good guess. If not now, definitely Kanbaru content again at some point in the near future, I would imagine. Last episode, it fucked me up a little bit. I couldn't really put my words together in the discussion in a very coherent way. Coming into this episode, I was trying to think about if there's anything I would like to say going into it, and my mind instantly went in one place, and it's not where I expected it to go.
Well, that's okay.
I ended up writing a couple sentences to Kaiki, and I was wondering if I could read them off with your blessing.
You have my blessing. I would love to hear this.
Okay. Dear Kaiki, the words I'm about to say will be inherently dramatized from the emotion that led me to saying them in the first place. The journey that has led us to this point seems as it began with a haunting cello, and while I was not directly given a charm by you, it seems that your charm has indirectly affected me. Not in the way that it would go back to affect me in a way that would want to hurt you or kill you. Not like we saw last episode. It's different.
It's different.
A character like you only comes around so often. One that isn't made grand because of the hard journey of growth that one must go through, but one that makes themselves grand by showcasing the beliefs that a character already has. Within your fact that nothing you say should be taken as fact has propelled your narrative into one perhaps more real than what the most honest person could ever say in earnest. A paragon of a man that inspires individuals like myself to delve into reading on psychological egoism, ethical egoism, and rational egoism. I hope that one day I can relish in the fact that by thinking your death occurred, I am just another victim of your deception. I apologize as I am unable to say any of this as a soliloquy, but instead a mere monologue with no adequate disguise. I'm but a fraud, a fake, an imposter of Kaiki Deshu. But thanks to you, I'm able to find pride in being that imposter. As a now potentially dead man once told me, the fake is of far greater value. In its deliberate attempt to be real, it's more real than the real thing. So thank you for opening that closet, Kaiki. Thank you for opening my closet. You good?
Yeah.
Sweet.
慣れなきゃ毒になれ。でなきゃあんたはただの水だ。
そんなことを言う母親だった。
Mother.
セルが。だけどそれはあんたが優れているからではなく、あんたが弱いからだ。一生その弱さを抱いて生きることになる。
Eccentric mother.
弱さをあんたが生きがいとせんこと。
分かったような分からないようなことを言って、人を煙に巻くのが好きな人だった。
Like she knew it all.
お父さんとあの人が死んで、私は父方の祖父母に引き取られたが、子を好きになったんだろうとずっと不思議に思っていた。あの子は神様の代わりに生きているんだよ、なんて言っていたことを思い出す。今から思えば微笑ましいが、その意見には従えない。鵜呑みにはできない。そう、私に言わせれば悪魔みたいな人だった。
神も悪魔も同じなんだよ。こう並べたところで人間なんて連中のおもちゃだ。そんな分かりきったことをいつまでもごちゃごちゃ考えてないで。
カンバル投影、旧姓ガエン投影は私。
I'm Toei.
さっさと目を覚ましやがるバカ娘。
木先輩を睡眠中トランス状態で無意識下に襲うこんなバカな拘束を続けている。
自分の無意識下の破壊衝動を知ってしまってると。
I'm good. It looks like I didn't commit any crimes today.
爪切り。失職。いっそバッサリやってしまうか。その決断はつかない。私は優柔不断なんだろう。優柔不断。優しくも柔らかくもない私にこの四字熟語はふさわしくないかもしれない。強欲と言うべきだ。全てを欲して最初に全てを終え最後に何も持っていないカンバル・スルガの人生だ。実際爪切りだってなくしちゃったしっていることとそんな宿命みたいな人生観を絡めて語っていたら先輩や荒木先輩に怒られてしまうかもしれないとそこまで考えて私は気づく。
The hairstyle.
もうあの愛すべき先輩たちが怒ってくれることはないのだ。だってあの人たちはもうい
Wow.
ないのだから。
Okay.
私はそんな自分
Is
の
this
恋
after
愛のに
graduation?
失笑しながら学校に向かう。荒木暦と戦場ヶ原日木のいない私立直江
Holy shit. Who are you?
Is this a
What the fuck? Do you think this is entirely just going to be Kambaru? Like, no Araragi at all?
she set it up for us to think that.
Interesting. No wrappings around her arm there.
なんて言い方をするとあの二人がまるで死んでしまったみたいだけれど
True.
そんなことは全然なく
Thank goodness.
彼らは普通に彼らは卒業し私は高校3年生になった。それだけのことである。ともあれ本日
Were we using a calendar from Aragi's
先
house?
輩チーズです。
おはよう扇くん。あれ扇
Okay, my
I'm
boy.
done.
確か女子生徒じゃなかったっけ。
知ってるんですか、駿河先輩。僕は昔から男の子ですよ。でも変わることなくずっと男の子です。
扇くんは男の子だったよ。すまんすまん、勘違いしていた。
た一度の過ちも許されないというのでは鬱屈すぎます。
So true, Ogi, my boy.
そういえば過ちという言葉は過去の過って字を書きますよね。過去というのはすべからく過ちであるということなんでしょうか。
という言葉の使い方を間違えている。
やつは過去も未来もネガティブなばかりなんでしょうか。おっと、どうしました、駿河先輩。走りすぎて肩腹が痛くなりましたか。
たかが数キロ走ったくらいで痛めるような内臓は持ってい
Yeah,
な
it
いよ。
is.
扇くん、何か話がある。そうでなければ君が
Is he
私
back on
に
the
声をかけ
cycling
てくる
path?
はずが。
おや、冷たいことを言いますね、駿河先輩。僕はあなたに話しかけちゃダメですか。
No.
理由がある方が嫌だけどな。
はは、それはあったかい。
I love you and I hate
先
you.
輩、悪魔様の噂を知っていますか。
3年生の教室。
Familiar
戦
seats.
場ヶ原先輩、羽川先輩が使っていた教室だった。おいおい、これは戦場ヶ原先輩の机だろう。
ルガー、おはよう。ってやっと同じクラスだね。
彼女は日傘。バスケ
Higasa.
ットボール部の同期。私が引退した後はキャプテンを引き継いでもらった。
一緒に帰ろうよ、ルガー。
ちょっと参考書買って帰らなきゃいけないんだ。私の成績じゃ大学に行けないし。
ああ、ルガーはバカだもんね。じゃあ、また明日ね。
おう、日傘。お前悪魔様って知ってる？
はにゃ？前向きな子がその噂を知ってるの？
直江津高校の生徒間で流行っているおまじないの
Sort
類
of
らしい。
charm.
ことや悩み事を悪魔様に相談すれば得るというのだ。
Mmm.
という言葉がついているところがあまりにも逆に嘘っぽい。どれだけ嘘っぽかろうと、それが悩み事を解決してくれるとくれば、私は動かざるを得なかっただろう。だって、それならば、悪魔様
Oh
は
man.
私かもしれないじゃないか。
いくらかの付帯条件はあるらしいんですけれどね。相談事は引き受けてくれないそうですよ。来すぎたってのは基準としてはそうですね。頼った方がいい場合ってことらしいですけれど。
なんだそれは。
ここで言う悪魔様ってのはどうやら具体的で生々しい人間のようですから。高校生くらいの女の子だそうですよ。
後世が悪魔を語って 直江津高校の生徒から相談を受けている。女子高生ならばますます私っぽい。
そうなんですけどね。ただ語っているかどうかは微妙なところで、ひょっとすると本物かもしれないということですよ。
具体的で生々しい人間なのだろう。
人間が悪魔でないとは限らないでしょ。絶対に悩み事を解決してくれるんですから、親切な人とは思えませんよね。
はあ、OK。
いや別にさっき荒木先輩からそんなメールが来てさ。荒木今荒木先輩
様の噂なら私も知ってるぜ。イエーイちゃんが動き出すんじゃないかと思ってアイドリングタイムに入ってるところさ。燃える正義は地球に優しくねえぜ。
This is like the new team.
夏休みの時と違ってよ、大きな被害者が出てるって噂でもないっぽいんで
Look at her jacket hanging up.
動きかねてるところがあるみたいだな。とも悪魔を名乗って人の相談を受け付けてるなんて
We're in Aragi's room.
こんなやつじゃねえのは確かだけれど。
本物の悪魔だっていう可能性はないのか。
やだな、何言ってんの駿河さん。いるはずねえじゃん。私もう高校生だよ。ってねって
しいんだけど、その悪魔様とどうすれば会えるか知っているかい？
Yeah, what are the rumors saying?
悪魔様に会うための方法は3つ。ノーマル、ハードと分類するとして、それは悪魔様が相談事を引き受けてくれたならば、ノーマルモードがどんな感じなのかといえば電話である。時によって様々らしい。
That sounds hard.
でも男なんだか女なんだかよくわからない。両輪口にハンカチでもかぶせたような
I love that they're using this visual.
かなり言葉さを受け付けるか否かの返事がある。そして最後のハードモードは聞けば予想がつくとも思うが、悪魔様に直接会うという選択だった。
Scary.
で、
Opted for the last
ど
choice.
こに行けばその悪魔様に。
それもまあ時々で会えるかどうかは運次第なんだけど。3つの選択肢を用意しているとは言っても、最初の選択肢で済ませてしまうんだよ。7人までは悪魔様への相談を手紙で済ませてしま
Then
う。
what? 2 by phone?
残りの3人のうち2人までが電話かな。
そして最後の1人がこうして直接会いに来るのかな。
最後の1人は諦めた。
Oh,
3つの選択肢を前に
damn.
直に会いに来てまで10人いるうちの11人目だ。ここは本当に深刻な悩みを抱えている
There we go, the crutch.
警察や弁護士、児童相談所を紹介す
Things that should go to the police.
に会いに来た11人目はこれまでに2人ともそんな処置を取ったよ。もっともカンバル・駿河さん。
その通りだよ、沼地郎香さん。
Machiroka.
覚えていてくれたんだ。
この辺りの地区で私としのぎを削り合った他校のバスケットボールプレイヤーだ。宿敵と言った方がしっくりくるくらい何度も何度も対決した。ここを得意とする攻撃型プレイヤーだとして、のらりくらりとしたディフェンスを得意とするバスケットボール選手だった。
カンバル、その左手本当だったんだな。つまりは私とお揃いか。名選手っていうのは怪我に弱いよね。
How much are we in the same boat?
私はリハビリで受験を棒に振っ今をときめくときめきのフリーターというやつだ。こんな足じゃなかなか雇ってもらえず、フリーターといっても無職なんだけどね。私は悪魔様になれる。
足を痛めているとなかなか雇ってもらえないから。
いや違う違う。悪魔様なんてことをやっているけれど、別にそれでお金をもらっているわけじゃない。無
Then
料
what do you
相
get
談
out
所
of
なん
it?
だよ。
無料相談者、それじゃあまるで
Yeah.
お金目当てじゃないというのならば
It's the opposite of Kaiki.
ダメだ。
君みたいな面白半分の人間に見つかった時点で、中学でバスケットボールを引退してから3年間、手を変え品を変え名前を変え聞いてきたんだよ。この私はどうして私がこんなことを
What a
しているかだっけ。お金目当てじゃないのなら何のためにと。もちろん世のため人のためではないよ。
I was gonna say that expression
自
didn't
分の
match.
ためさ。
I do it for
自
me.
分自身、沼地廊下の健全なる利益のためだ。よかった。 私と同じように不幸な人間、
Mm.
私よりも
It
不
makes you
幸な
feel
人間
better?
はたくさんいるんだと安心するために、そのためだけに私は悪魔様をやっているのさ。
Mm. To like fight isolation.
私に悪魔様に相談してくる高校生たちの手紙は、それに録音した通話記録は私の何
You
よりもコレ
recorded.
クションだよ。
Jesus Christ.
3年前から看板を掛け替えながら
Collecting the misfortune of others.
あまり褒められた趣味とは言えないな。
That's why her hair design is horns and a halo.
フットボールプレイヤーではなく、そう、カウンセラーだからね。
Oh my god!
別に相談者の不幸をかき回したりもしない。私は真面目に話を聞くだけだ。それで誰が傷つく
So
の？
much justification.
私は心
Already
の中で
prepared.
ほくそ笑んでいるだけで、浮かべている表情は真剣そのものだぜ。
心の中でほくそ笑んでいる時点で不実だろ。
Betraying them the moment you laugh and in the inside.
連中から話を聞いて、あとは何もしない。モード1の場合は手紙を受け取って何もしない。
So then they feel like
モード
someone read
2の
it.
場合は電話口で話は受けたまわりましたと言っておしまい。モード3の人たちには大枠だけ聞いて、細かい話は聞かずに、つまりやはり何もせずに流れ作業でしかるべき期間を紹介する。悪魔様は話を聞くだけ。他には何もしない。
どうして悪魔様は絶対に悩みを解決してくれるなんて噂が流れ
Yeah,
る
where
んだ。
did the rumor get that
お
part?
前は何もしないのに。
おいおい、そんなの。悩みなんてものは大抵の場合、時間が解決してくれるからに決まっているじゃないか。だから彼らに必要なのは、その悩みは私が請け負ったという言葉であって、
Like you put it on
悩
someone
みの解
else.
決それ自体じゃないんだよ。
You don't have to worry about it
それは
anymore.
逃げじゃないのか。
この世にあるほとんどの問題は逃げることで解決するじゃないか。今この時に解決しようと思う
She's
から、
sinking.
人は苦労するんだよ。
Drowning.
沼地廊下が悪魔様として多くの高校生の悩みを聞き、彼らを楽にしてあげてきたことはどうやら事実なのだ。お前のやっていることは褒められたことではないし、その思考もとてもじゃないけれど理解できないが、しかし人を不幸に陥れる類の行為でもなさそうだしな。
分かってくれて嬉しいよ。
わからないよ。
じゃあね、カンバル選手。久々の再会がこんな形だったのは
I
残
love
念
that she's
だよ。
backing up like that.
君とはぜひコートの中で再会したかったけれど、それはもうお互いにとって
Court can take many shapes.
その悩みもどうせ時間が解決してくれるんだろう。
もちろん。
いずれにせよ気は済んだ。高校生の相談を無差別に受ける悪魔様の正
I'm
体は
not the devil.
私ではなかった。それが確認できただけで十分なのだ。
She was so worried it was
こ
her.
の左腕をガムテープで拘束することなく眠れる日が来るのだろうか。
Oof. You know it's to Araragi.
He's gonna be like, nice.
I love that.
悩むなんてのは時間の無駄だ。考える暇があるなら動け。悩みは忘れろ。先に立たないなら後悔するな。
Like an underhanded way to receive some of those lines, it feels like.
Oh.
Hmm.
It's a big day.
私の左腕が猿のそれではなく、悪魔のそれではなく、あるべき人の左腕に戻っていた。
Fire sisters in high school?
That feels really wrong. What? What?
Okay, that was Hanamonogatari, episode 1. How is the arm back? Why is the arm back? I would like the answers to these questions, but at the same time, my mind immediately goes to, like, revelations. Like, imagine an angel-like figure and the literal devil, or maybe, like, even a god-like figure and a devil-like figure being able to now square off in the court once again. What if Numachi is able to utilize her leg in the way that she used to be? And that would make happen what we kind of saw or what was alluded to in the intro.
Right, in the OP. Are we going to return to the court? See, you phrased it as the arm is back, which is funny because I wrote down, like, the arm is gone, because it's the monkey's arm. The human arm is back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, one of
Interesting.
the arms is gone and one of the arms is back. I think we prefer, obviously, the arm that is back, but the why is the arm back? But is that even the most important question I should be asking myself as we leave Hanamonogatari episode 1? Or should I be asking myself, other than why is the arm gone, why are the Fire Sisters gone?
It could be on our end. I was the one who torrented this in the same way that I have from the same people as, I mean, I didn't do, I've done everything the same, and it could be on our end, and if it is, apologies, we'll figure it out, but if it isn't, I was devastated.
If it isn't, why?
They're in high school now.
Maybe that's why.
Okay, let's start off here then, because I had, for every 25 title card sequences in Monogatari, I'll get like one.
Yeah, just like one out of, especially if there's like 7 in a quick succession, I get one of them, or a word from one of them.
And this one applies to a Fire Sister, right?
Okay.
I'm in high school now, I don't believe in spirits anymore. Listen to this, Suruga. My brother is the real shit. The other day, he said, I got some time, let's have fun. When he came to my room half naked, and he had these nail clippers, and my bare skin. Hold on, should you really be telling me this? Even his eye was taken aback.
Which is fun to think about when we think about who we are guessing she sent a text message to toward the end of the episode. Yeah, like the telling of information that is maybe too personal to be telling to someone else.
They're consistently texting, and there seems to be a lot of reaction to that in terms of the school's reception, and that's completely understandable. That's how I would react if you told me that you often got to text Araragi.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, I'm jealous. I want to talk to Araragi. JK, I really would rather talk to Senjigahara. Like, if I could talk to Araragi to be like, hey, can you give Senjigahara my number? That's how I would utilize texting Araragi.
I guess, since we're starting here, let's get it out of the way in the sense that time has passed. Mm-hmm. They are no longer at the school, and now Kanbaru is a year ahead, and that's the fact of the matter. It's really interesting. I didn't expect us to go this far ahead, but I'll say that I'm extremely pleasantly surprised, because when we have somebody who's a narrator as Kaiki is, and Kaiki was, correct? Mm-hmm. That's one thing because it's a character like Kaiki. I am amazed time and time again how natural it seems to switch who the narrative is about within Monogatari, and how well done it's able to come off, because they think about what you need to in terms of explanation and approach that would otherwise feel like a missing link or a missing piece in the story. The way that they are intertwining Araragi as a piece of this, because he's real and he exists in this life and in Kanbaru's life, but leaving it far enough out to let us know who this story is about.
Right. It's real in the sense that just one person can make such a impact on multiple people that therefore it can make sense for a story to follow then those other people that have just been somehow connected to the original protagonist and are therefore we're getting to see their lives and what they're going through after the influence and the connection of that original character. And honestly, it's because of everything we've been introduced to for each of these characters that we're kind of getting to follow their POV and follow their story a little more intimately. It's because everything we got of them originally through Araragi and through his POV and his perspective, there was so much left there to be talked about these characters and to be explored, that's why it never has once felt odd or weird to be following more intimately and more personally another character in this story. I will say, because you brought it up, obviously, that this is in the future, so I'm gonna talk on that for a second, that we've moved on past graduation. April 9th, there was a moment, not that I was incredibly worried that she meant that Araragi and Senjigahara died, because she was like, don't worry, I hope you didn't think that they died or anything, but there was a split-second moment that I reminded myself that Kaiki starts his story section off for Hitagi End being like, that he's the one telling this story. And you know, it's like that he is this character that keeps reminding you, like, don't fully trust everything that he's saying. And there was a point in time, a moment, we've even had time travel in this series. There was a little voice in my head that was like, for a second, wonder that this could be, you might be witnessing the story if they did die at the hands of Nadeko. You know, for a second I was like, but the what if? Like, what if this actually isn't just the fact that they graduated and Kaiki deceived you, or this is just to show you what would have happened, you know, like a little voice was saying that. But then I was like, no, Nadeko wouldn't have stopped at Araragi and Senjugahara. She would have kept going.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about. Like, I mean, even in the details of the now, right? After Kaiki and Araragi's conversation end, was there a complete stoppage of interaction from Araragi's end with Nadeko? Because that is a massive part that would have played in the future.
Yes.
But where they are now, the idea that they're in college, are they together still? Like, we had that option throwing around way long ago, it feels like. But I don't... To be honest, it's interesting because obviously I care and I'm being stupid by saying this, but I don't really care about Araragi and Senjugahara right now. I care about Kanbaru. Like, you know, I want to know and I want to see that, but like, there's a story to tell right here within Kanbaru and her own life in an approach that we have not yet seen from Kanbaru's perspective, and that's so fascinating to me. And a lot of that does come to Numachi and like her perspective on things that are really fascinating to me. But yeah, I want to see them, don't get me wrong, but it almost feels like we shouldn't be seeing them for a little bit.
It's feeling very complicated at the moment because there's a story to be told, but what's already starting to be told, even by the OP, by the intro, and by what I witnessed in this episode, it's not even the story that I thought needed to be told. And what I imagine is happening is that we're utilizing this new character interaction between Numachi and Kanbaru. We're utilizing this interaction, this budding arch nemesis to friendship, possible relationship. We're utilizing this character as a device to help unpack our feelings about our mother and maybe even about our family, and start to understand more about Kanbaru through this introduction of this character. Because I had felt like there was something to be told, a story to be told. Is Gaian gonna be in this story with Kanbaru? Are we gonna see her, interact with her at all?
You know
That's
what?
more where my perspective, like, of what I was expecting.
When you were saying when Kanbaru was like talking about those two, that they didn't die, like, it was so clear to me for some reason that they weren't talking about Senjugahara and Araragi. But for a second I was like, wait, Kanbaru's parents didn't die? Like, no, but obviously the case being the case. I completely agree with you, like, in terms of the direction that we're going and in terms of Kanbaru's mom. The person that you hear words from doesn't necessarily explain how that person got to saying those words and choosing those words. I think that Kanbaru's father is a massively fascinating figure in all of this, and the way that he approaches and phrases around Kanbaru's mom, Toei, as that girl, right? That girl standing in for God and being able to see the light in the phrasing of that girl, but not truly being able to understand or see what he was able to see. And
why using God?
Yeah, I mean, why use God? Why use devil here, right? I hope and imagine that might be touched upon and using these specific terms.
There was a line of the same coin, that they're part of the same coin. And then during the episode, I couldn't help but think about the hairstyling choice of the new character is somewhat akin to, it's reminding me of devil horns in a halo shape. Devil horns that have been pushed down to kind of create a halo around the hair, around the head. That, what is the difference here? Like, the fact that someone is doing something that's, you can objectively say is doing good for other people, but there is darkness and it is twisted. There are devilish elements to it. It's not sincere.
I think it's interesting too, because like, I like your approach to the devil. You could even make comparisons like who is the devil but a fallen angel, and in terms of who the fallen angel is, there's complexity in between the right and the wrong, and where you might strive for right and wrong, and even if things are technically, or the argument you're making is technically right, that doesn't necessarily mean it is. And with that, Numachi is a really interesting character. I'm really, really enjoying her so far in this episode, and it feels like I don't know. It's she's a standout to me, and I think that part of the reason that it comes off that way to me is that she feels prepared in a way that Kanbaru is able to see through, but at the end of seeing through how prepared she is, it's in such a way that most people would either agree with it or be like, huh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. You're able to convince yourself a lot of things, and if you play with a thought experiment long enough in terms of what you're doing and if it's right or wrong, you can perceive it in a lot of different ways. The idea of escapism is one that's fucked with me quite a bit. In terms of like studying philosophy, there's always an argument that, not always, but there's often an argument that escapism is healthy when it's put through a healthy dose of moderation, right? Mm-hmm. Even speaking from personal instances, if you are in such if you're at the bottom of a well mentally, and you need a plan of attack, momentarily suspending yourself in subjectively escapist areas can be beneficial objectively, right, or theoretically, but to be able to utilize it to benefit yourself in such a direct way that you're willing to just say it flat out, that I do it for me, it's for my benefit, that's when the real argument starts, or that's when the cracks really start to show. And that's what I'm really fascinated in, because of what Kanbaru ended up responding to it as, and what I imagine the future to behold.
It's like we didn't have to dig so much to get past all of the justification and all of the fluff to get to the root of, I do this for the leg, I do this for me. I really love what we're getting in terms of, like, I start to wonder, because we start the episode off with getting kind of Kanbaru's mother's perspective about things, and then we get a little bit more about her perspective of things through dialogue that I imagine a voice actor that's portraying her is saying at the end of the episode. And it makes me wonder, between these two characters, how would they disagree or agree? We have Numachi putting forward the idea of, it's because they try to deal with it that they go through pain. That, you know, could be that they shouldn't have to worry about it anymore, the escapism. And then we have Kanbaru's mother saying things like, if they have time to think about it, they have time to act, and worrying is a waste. So both of them agree that worrying is bad, but the approaches to how to move forward and handle things are definitely different. And that's probably because one person is thinking about not being a weak person and trying to be a strong person, quote unquote, whatever that means to them. Kanbaru's mother is like, this is how to be a strong person. You gotta get past things. You gotta move forward from things. And Numachi's not really trying to help other people be better versions of themselves. She's just helping them, like, with these band-aids, I guess.
It's fascinating because it's like, it's an objective observation or an attempt at one to say that all wounds would heal themselves, right? And utilize that in the sense of, okay, well, I'm giving you what you need. I'm listening to you. And one way or the other, that approach, it will be overcome, and that might be put on you. You might be rewarded for that. The devil might have answered your prayer in that instance. It almost reminds me of, like, a mentalist or psychics, right? The idea of deduction and being astutely aware of how vague you can make a statement, and then use logic and reasonings to deduce what might be real and what might not, just to have the other side of the table thinking like, okay, no, what they're saying is right enough. Mm-hmm. You're preying on something that is objectively real and has, like, thought behind it, but it's not necessarily adding a ton to it after the fact.
It definitely is almost what the kind of debate we're in right now and the comparing of points of view right now is almost like a smaller arena, an actual basketball court, because we're playing the same game, in comparison to something like comparing Kaganui, Oshino, and Kaiki and their moralities and how they view the world. That was like we're comparing a continent to another continent.
It's like
another
a child
culture.
of that.
And
or
this is like we're simmering it down to people who would probably say they're in one of those camps, in the same camp, but then we even get deeper into it and there are these intricacies and these differences they would have. We're on the same court, but
It's interesting because when you say deeper, you would think it would be like, oh yeah, like it's more specific, more like detailed, and like, you know, it almost feels in that sense though more immature. Like you haven't gotten to the point yet where these adults are, where they're able to think what they do and feel what they do, and if you could even consider it, like cope with the tragedies or hardships in their life in a way that they are. We're doing so at a scale that's similar but to a very like different degree.
when you bring up the idea, like, I think, was it childish what you said, or immature?
Yeah.
It almost feels like moral grandstanding, like we want to appear better and we're trying to justify things. And
But
when I
it's-
think of the other characters that I utilized, they fully believe it, and I don't feel like they have to come up with a bunch of justifications to convince themselves and others that they have the right point of view.
Well, when you think, like, you're not thinking about how you could be perceived in the sense that, like, you are doing that, though. You are doing that, but then you're, like, you're proud of the fact that you can do that and that answer and explanation will stick and will work, you know?
Ugh. That sounds icky.
I don't know though. It's episode 1, and like the whole point that I'm trying to make is I don't know what the fuck's going on, and I'm fascinated in Numachi's like her reasoning and her approach to how she views what she is doing with herself. I don't know if we're gonna get more into it. One of the things that made me feel like we really could get like a face-off of sorts, in terms of understanding each other and oneself and Kambaru's real understanding of her mother. I had pulled it up on screen a couple minutes ago. I think it's like it's a Rubens vase or a Reuben vase. The idea, like the illustration that can be seen as 2 different things or 3 different things. How many legs does this elephant have? Are we looking at a vase right now, or are we looking at 2 faces facing each other? 2 different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Those conversations and ideas being brought up make me wonder, like, oh, how interesting and fascinating would it be to have those 2 ideologies come to a head, because it's within how similar they are that would breed a fascinating conversation.
Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe I need more time with Numachi at the moment to feel like I am not. I don't know if I'm judging her correctly at the moment, I guess.
I definitely am not.
I will say is that at the moment I don't view the platform she stands on as being as solid as some other characters that maybe because I've already had a lot of time with them, I view their platforms as more solid, and I feel like I either am misjudging her, or we are here to see a character realize and strengthen her own beliefs herself through maybe interacting even with Kanbaru, as Kanbaru will probably strengthen some of her own opinions and beliefs through interacting with Numachi. I don't know exactly what we're gonna get with this character. All I would want to say about the matter, and all I feel like I was trying to say, is I feel like the conversation, at least in Kanbaru's mind, is gonna be a comparison between the voice of Numachi and the voice of her mother, and what these 2 people are saying and doing in this story, and how they are going to impact her, even though one is beyond the grave, you know, the words of your mother beyond the grave, and one is right here in front of you, and how you can utilize seeing these 2 perspectives that you find flaws in to strengthen your own feelings about how you view the world and how you're gonna walk through it.
I like that.
That's how I'm gonna finish off that.
Do you think that at some point in the series that Kanbaru might have any interaction with Gaian? or maybe ever. It's within the family. It would be very interesting, especially after what we saw from the conversation between Guyan and Araragi. That might have already happened. I don't know.
It makes me, because she lives with her paternal grandparents, and because her father still, from what little we get of the parents' relationship with each other, it seems like her father had a lot of love for her mother. I don't really understand why it makes things so complicated for Guyan to interact with Kambaru.
There's
And
history, you know?
Exactly. There's stuff here that we definitely can explore. But the question that you originally asked of, do I even see that happening? I don't know anymore because of what happened to Kaiki in the last thing we watched. I don't know about anything
We
anymore.
can't even be sure what gender Ogi is or was. I thought that Ogi wasn't always wearing what looked like a boy's uniform.
Yeah.
But I was wrong.
We were deceived.
I gaslit myself into believing that before I was told that I was gaslighting myself. That's crazy.
Yeah, and Ogi won't interact with you. It's scarier if Ogi interacts with you because he has a reason to.
I'm going to have a nightmare tonight of Ogi riding a bicycle, staring at me while riding it backwards. And man,
he wasn't even riding it in the right lane. Like, there was the cycling lane, the career lane, the college courses, university lane, and the jogging lane. And he was riding the bicycle in the jogging lane. And that is the wrong one.
Well, we also met Higasa, who was the old vice captain and is now the captain of the basketball team. But I guess I only have a couple more things. One of them being just like, I think that Monogatari does such a fantastic job at conveying real people's problems and issues within a supernatural way. It's something that I've been thinking and saying in broken words, discussion after discussion, I feel like, but in a simplistic way of saying it, even coming into this part of Hanamonogatari, it feels like the approach to it is always the same, in the sense of like, real people have severe problems, and sometimes when you try to convey in media how that feels, it does a lesser job at doing so, and I don't feel like Monogatari has done that lesser job in the issues that they're trying to convey.
I think that they also, I agree with you. I think there's also a good job being done in terms of how many different elements go into the making of a trauma and the making of a person, all of the different things they will inevitably have to work through. Like, we have multiple characters who family has played a role in what they went through. But I think percentage-wise of how much they need to unpack their family and certain members of the family are different depending on the character, depending on the situation. I think that that's what we're seeing is, yes, we start this episode off and we're given a character who issues with family. Mainly, mom is saying things to you, is coming out with these lines that don't feel like they're very loving and supportive and feel very much like I view you as weak, which doesn't feel super warm and snuggly of a mom to kind of be saying to their daughter, and to parents that weren't really around because unfortunately they died and then you had to go live with your grandparents. So we have just right out of the gate, family issue early in the life could definitely affect a person. But what are we really trying to get into with Kambaru, and where are we really trying to where's the point of attack really in terms of building Kambaru up to be the person that she's inevitably going to grow to be by the end of Suruga Devil? Is it really the parents that are going to be 100% of the focus, or are they going to be something that we're able to unpack because we've unpacked something else? I feel like the percentages are different in each kind of scenario, because people are different. And I feel like the highlight is not necessarily Kambaru's mother that is this kind of overarching issue here. And I feel like we're really focusing much more on, in this episode especially, Kambaru, her feelings about herself, her feelings about the arm, her feelings about her initial even coming into having the arm, what got her there, who she was to even make the choices she did.
What would happen if she made a different choice?
What would happen if she made a different choice? And what if she hurt someone? And she's so much more focused on herself. And
You're
I
right.
want to focus on that as well, because I feel like, yes, we might be able to unpack her feelings about her mom. Sure, the family had impact on her, but her choices in her own life seem to be much more highlighted and much more important for her to work through and kind of be able to look at herself and maybe feel better about the choices she's made, feel less worried about these things. I mean, she's definitely going to feel less worried now that she does have her human arm back and she doesn't have to worry about committing a crime in the middle of the night.
I mean, her fear of her being the devil that was being talked about speaks mountains. I think you're exactly right.
Where did the arm go? This is just crazy theory, but sometimes things transfer when there's physical contact. And what if there was a transfer because the person that we were in a conversation with at the time of that physical touch was someone who was so much in need of feeling better within themselves that they were putting themselves in a position to be a devil, to hear other people's problems, to be able to feel better about themselves. This very desperate kind of place where you're putting on a sincere face, but you're laughing on the inside. Someone like that could definitely attract a more negative power, like an actual kind of monkey's paw, a gift you didn't necessarily want and an outcome you definitely didn't want.
I mean, I think that could be true, but Kimbaru has always had a human arm, and there's only one character in the series who hasn't, and that's Ogi, my dude. Since, episode 1 of Bakemonogatari, he doesn't have a human arm. He was inflicted, and that still happens to be the case coming out of this episode. You good?
Yeah, let's get more Ogi next
Yeah.
episode.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. We hope to see you next time.